Warning, this show contains adult language. I want to talk to you guys today about what to do in the coming harder times and what's going on here. We're about to see some explosions of inflation, of prices on everything. World is definitely changing in a crazy direction. We have lots of disruptions in the supply chains. It's affecting me. I've been talking about this last week, and there's many things that we need to start doing. And the title of the show is what to do for the oncoming hard times. And there's so much that I would like to try to cram in here, but there's only so much minutes that I am allotted here with my podcast. So I want to talk today about how to design your life before it gets designed for you. I want to talk about utilizing minimalism, practicing essentialism, the philosophy of permaculture, of how, if we understand the mechanics of this, of how we can incorporate this into our lives, and what the time is now to start. So let's get with it. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show's about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. If I didn't say, fair warning, show contains adult language. So it's a beautiful rainy day this morning, and I can't go to work till later because of all the rain, and I wanted to get the show out here and without me driving with the background hum. So let's jump into it. This is 282. And why prices and everything is about to explode is what I got first on my notes here. I don't understand. I'm not claiming to be an economist and everything, but I do follow along a lot of the cyber, basically the street talk, I call it. The internet word on the street is that a lot of companies have made deals, right? Investors from a long time ago, I remember, would make these deals with, say, we're going to talk about the food industry first. So they would go to, say, Apple's, like an Apple producer, and say, hey, we're going to spend this amount of money for you right now. We want to lock it in, right? In case things happen, 2 years, 1 year, 2 years from now, and the price has to go up, we're going to prepay, but you got to produce X amount of produce for us. So they kind of lock it in, just like when you're buying a house, a locked interest rate. Due to fluctuations and things like that, it's a good investment. So the company, by putting all the money forward first, things raising like right now, makes them very wealthy, because the cost to do business, the cost of fuel, all of these things cost the farmer a lot of money. But regardless, she was already paid for their product. So they have to keep going. So what we have right now, I think a lot of people are not aware of, is that these farmers, and this is other companies as well, producers of pretty much almost everything, have been locked down into this contract. And guess what? The contract is up. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, but for instance, I saw one was an onion farmer, and they said we have to raise things by at least 30, most likely 40%. So I know it's just onions, but this is going to go with meats. This is going to go with grains that feed the animals to produce meat. And they've been locked in. They haven't been able to raise their rates. Now everything's reset and the negotiation goes up. So that's why things have not climbed as hard as they should have. Don't get angry at these business people, these farmers. Like they said, if they don't raise their prices, they're going to go out of business. The cost of everything has gone up so much. So this is going into goods and services. My services as well. The gas, here in Sunnyside, California, is where I reside, is almost up to $5 in some places. So this is crazy. Everything is about to go up, so these companies need to stay in business. And what does that mean for you? That's why we're talking about what to do about the coming harder times. Everything's going to go up for you. Yes, they have raised your wages up a little bit, but have they raised your wages up 40%? No, I don't think so. Right? If you were making $15 an hour or $20 an hour, are you making 30 now? To make it, the math simple, Are you making like $28, dollars an hour? No, you're not. So you got to raise. A lot of people are looking right now going, wow, I'm actually in a good spot. I'm making $18 an hour, $20 an hour. Yeah, you're in a better spot. But due to the inflation and the massive things that the internet, what's being spoken about on the internet street right now, is that we have massive stuff coming. That's why houses are being bought up. We have low interest rates and things. Yes, everything costs high, but these people have set themselves up, as I have semi. I'm no millionaire. I'm just a thousandaire. But these people have set themselves up to invest into buying real estate. There's not really much to invest in right now except for businesses and real estate. It's kind of narrowed it down from the whole COVID thing and all the rest of the stuff that comes with it. So a lot of companies have been buying other companies with interests more towards profits, not necessarily producing things out right now. Right? Everything's kind of at a slow pace. I don't understand why, because I know that a successful business needs to kick out as much product as possible, but they're being bought and they're merging. A lot of different things are happening right now, and that's what's contributing to the supply chain shortage. Now, I know I'm probably butchering things, leaving a shit ton of information out, but you know what? I'm not that fucking smart. Right? I just kind of look at the rough draft of what's going on, and I try to piece it together. And I've said this many, many times. I have no idea what's going on, and I'm pretty damn sure that nobody else does either. Maybe the old 1% people up, the big brother in the sky and all those people, they know what's going on. They're controlling everything. I have no fucking idea. Other than watching what's happening and putting this all together, this is not going to be good. This cannot be good. But you know what? I don't want to. We're a solution-based mindset here, show. And we don't need to see all the negativity, even though I think it's very healthy for us and very wise for us to take a look in that direction and to make sure that we kind of at least smell a scent of what's going on. And regardless of how the world moves, whether bad thing, inflation doubles, 40% is a lot. That's a lot, people. Whether this happens or not, there's a lot of things that we can do in our lives, whether this shit was happening or if it didn't, to help us live better lives, to be more light-footed on the earth, less treading on the earth, and actually have more abundance by doing so. So, yeah, let's. We explained a little bit about why prices are rising on everything, but you need to design your life because it's being designed for you. I think this is a really, really big one for me right now. Watching people how. Basically, there's distractions, right? Over here on this side, they get you to look. And you're like looking, you're like, oh, whoa, what is all this kind of stuff? Vaccinations and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of stuff going on the other side that we're not seeing, right? And these things, I think a lot of people are so stressed out and a lot of people are overworked. And guess what, guys? There's a positive. But what's going to start happening is a lot of people are going to have to start merging together. Families living in the same houses, parents moving in with their kids moving in with their parents, basically sharing one roof, sharing same resources and things. And people are most likely, what it reminds me of is living in Hawaii. I did a lot of research. I went and visited the place. I lived in a community over there for a few weeks. It was pretty cool. And what I found was a lot of people work 2, even 3 jobs, but they call it the cost of paradise. A gallon of milk was something ridiculous, right? Double of what we'd even spend here in California. 90% of the goods that they use, the people use on that island, are shipped, right? If there's ever a supply chain disruption or something happened where they couldn't get a boat to the islands, they'd be screwed, right? They haven't really built much infrastructure there, as far as what I know. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. And I've talked about the whole island thing before, and that's what I believe we are as well. We're an island. And right now, just like the state of Hawaii, the Hawaiian Islands, you are dependent on what's happening around you. You're not a producer of much. You're a producer of coin, of money. You produce labor, and you get paid X amount of dollars. Well, meanwhile, as I said, while you're distracted on all this other stuff, it's the Moana, the movie, it's so shiny. You show something shiny and everybody runs towards it. But your dollar's being devalued right now behind you. So if you had $100,000 in your savings account, it's probably only worth about, $80,000 now. It's very hard to tell. A lot of economists and people are saying that inflation has gone up by 10, 15% and all. It always depends on what you're talking about. For me, for instance, in the roofing line of business, roofing construction, is the price of metals has gone up 45%. The price of regular asphalt shingles has gone up 10%, 15%, right? So everything's fluctuating. So you can't really pinpoint on just one individual thing. But the point is that your money's being devalued, and that affects your life. That affects what you eat. That affects where you go, how you go, if you're even going to drive, even if you're going to go anywhere. I think the majority of people, what's going to happen is that they're probably going to have to start living like me, where you go to work, you come home, you take a shower, you make dinner, you spend time with your family, you don't really do much, you don't have cable TV. I don't know why you'd spend extra money on cable TV and stuff when you got YouTube and things like that for free, but anyways, you're going to live a relatively simple life, and I think that most people are going to come home, take a shower, eat dinner, get in their car, and go back to their second or maybe even their third jobs, just so that they can survive. So you're being affected, and life is about to change. I think what they are saying, and I don't know if this is true, is that the gap from the wealthy and the poor is going to hit huge numbers. The saying on the street, the internet street, is that by 2030, the way everything is moving, somewhere around that vicinity, you kind of won't own anything. That maybe you'll be given some bread, and some milk and some money, and your rent's, semi-paid. I don't know what the universal basic income. I don't know exactly how that's all going to play out, but that's what the word is, what is being said. So we're basically like farm animals, right? But you're being grained, and you have a nice little maybe apartment to live in. And I don't understand how the monetary system is supposed to stay afloat with people not working and all of this kind of things. Other than, all I know is that your life is being designed for you, and if you don't start doing something now, I think that's the lifestyle, that's the day-to-day lives that we're going to live. And even if it didn't happen, why would you not want to have full control of your life? How would you not want to have more freedom? I'm telling you guys, I feel sometimes giddy, so not specifically right now at the moment, but I feel so giddy when I look at the freedoms that I have, that I can go fishing today. If I fucking want to go fish, I already have my fishing poles in the back of my truck. For those of you watching the background, this is my vehicle. I can go fishing on the beach right now. It's Friday morning for me when I'm recording this show. I can pretty much do whatever the fuck I want, whenever I want. I can't go run through stop signs and stuff like that, but realistically, there's a lot of things I can do, and that's what I want for other people. Unless I think that possibly, it's why I say that I don't think my word or this show is really going to go very far, because I think possibly a lot of people want to be told what to do. I think a lot of people don't want to work. If this whole income thing, if this whole stimulus thing could just keep going, UBI, Universal Basic Income, I could just sit around my house and watch fucking, I don't know, always say The Price is Right because I'm fucking old, but I just want to watch shows and stuff and just do nothing. That sounds like a pretty good deal. To me, it doesn't, right? So I think a lot of the majority of people just want to get by with the least amount, So I don't know. But if you're one of the people who wants to design your life, we need to start figuring stuff out now. We need to move forward to the next subject, which is utilizing minimalism. And I've already done some shows on this, but what I want to talk about, all of these different options that you have out there, and there's thousands, if not millions, of videos out there, is grabbing the best of the best, of minimalism and the other simple living techniques that are out there, and grabbing what works for you. I would definitely say steer away from someone who's telling you exactly what to do. That's why in my show, if you guys pay attention, I always give suggestively. I try. I don't know. I don't hear myself when I talk, but I always try to suggestively place things out there. And I do try to enforce, or not enforce, but to explain that what works for me may not work for you. Everybody's lives are different. So in minimalism, the whole thing really doesn't work out for me. I really don't agree with the majority of minimalistic living. And I've already talked about a lot of reasons why. For instance, right now, the way I'll share one. I got a fly in here. How the hell did he get in here? One of the things I look at is I'm a fix-it person. I'm a person who runs a business. I'm a construction worker, and besides that, I work a lot on my farm. I need lots of tools. I need lots of space, and I store stuff. with the hard times, the price of inflation, of things going up 40%, I'm saving every bolt and screw that I can, saving them in jars, because for one, it saves me time. Plus, I just think it's kind of cool, you know. I'm one of those weirdos, like if my grandfather passed away and like gave me all his nuts and bolts and stuff, I'd be like, wow, that's a treasure. You know how much shit I could fix with that? But you know, realize the cost of everything that's going up. And it's not just about nuts and bolts. It's about saving. I got kombucha bottles that are extra super thick. I'm brewing kombucha. I got free bottles, right, to brew my kombucha. Recycling things, repurposing. It's good for the earth. It's good for your pocketbook. It looks kind of cool, you know, and you got different shaped glass bottles and things. It brings some ambiance to, you know, the evening. So a lot of cool things that we can do, but it doesn't really fall into the category of minimalism. So there are things that I look at to minimize clutter and minimize the things that you have. So I've basically combined what I call the alternative lifestyle design. And that just means that we're grabbing the best of everything. So my next note is practicing essentialism. So only what's essential. So I kind of want to meld these both together for you guys. So go out there and figure out what you want for minimalism. Minimalism is very simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. Don't, as I said, hesitate to follow people who are telling you exactly what to do. You know, I've seen on the forums and stuff like that, they're like, if I hang my GED on my wall, is that considered minimalism? Minimalism means whatever the fuck it means to you. Minimalism, the whole fucking purpose of minimalism, essentialism, simple living, alternative lifestyle design is to simplify your life, to make things run smoother for you, regardless of what you want to label it as, regardless what the practice is. If you feel comfortable, like I do, having nuts and bolts and stuff being saved and a whole shit ton of tools so you're on the spot, you could fix anything. My back of my truck is loaded with fuses and light bulbs. I just spent, I told you guys last week, I think it was, go out there and buy yourself a lot of things, that essential things that you think you'll need, like a fuse for your car. You know, and actually when I just did this, I didn't think about my headlights. One of my headlamps went out. I could not make it to work because I get up before the sun comes up. I can't be driving on the freeway with no lights. I got fucked. What if I went down to the auto store to buy a headlamp and they were all sold out because of the supply chain shortage, right? So to cut the shit short, get it out of my mouth, I bought some bulbs, I bought extra fuses and things like that. So I can't think of everything, but I just sat down and looked. Baby wipes, I have a special needs kid. I bought one extra thing of toilet paper. I'm not really freaking out about it, but I was like, it's sure kind of nice to wipe your fucking Hershey asshole, you know, when you need to, without having to go outside and spray yourself off with a fucking hose. Even though it's exhilarating, it fucking wakes you up. You're like, dude, I am ready for the fucking day. I feel refreshed and energized, right? I Wim Hof my fucking butthole. Just kidding. But yeah, this is not minimalism, right? But at the time when I get stuck, just like the other day, my window wouldn't work in this old 96 F350 pickup truck. I had a piece of PVC pipe or bamboo pipe, and I actually cut it, wedged it, and took apart my door panel and rolled my window up and locked it in so I could actually get home. So I got prepared for everything, but it's not minimalism because there's a bunch of stuff in there. But is it essential? Yes, because I'm like a mobile fucking repair unit, right? I got water in there. We got internet and a fridge, and, you know, this shit's awesome. So mixing everything together, I guess I'm kind of losing track over here. But yeah, minimalism is, you know, I don't live in a house. I got rid of my rental that I was in. Well, it's not my rental. I don't own any real estate at the moment. But I got rid of my house, which was on 5 acres, 3-bedroom house. It was really nice, very expensive. But I pay a third of what most people pay, you know, and I've minimalized my life that way. You know, what's awesome for my business is the overhead's super low, $250 a month. And I have, what do I have? I have two trailers parked, a dump trailer and a tool trailer. I have a 40-foot shipping container and also a 30-foot shipping container, all for $250 a month in Sunnyside, California, San Diego, North County. And you tell me where you're going to find rent to park that many things and run your entire business for $250 a month. There's always ways, guys. We just have to keep looking and seeking. So that's what I look at. My lifestyle, a lot of it's been essential. A lot of it has been minimalistic. A lot of it has been simple. And that has really, really worked for me. And I've done this regardless, you know, I've been living this way for the past, I'm going to say 6-7 years, right? I've always, not always, but earlier in my life, I kind of started to pare things down, keep it simple. But as I've becoming older and older, I've started simplifying even more and more, way before there was any of these troubling times. So, essentialism, to finish up on that, is just basically the practice of only buying what you need, I think we got minimalism down. If you can minimize your life and simplify everything way down, and we're really going to talk. I think I'm going to do another show specifically on lifestyle design. Yeah, we need to help people out here. But yeah, once you get your life minimalized, what you want to do to upkeep that, I would say, is it's like the next step. These are like ABCs. Is you want to practice essentialism. So once you get minimized, and you have everything all organized and minimalist about stuff, only you start living essentially. You're gonna get only what you need. That's only what is essential. So when you go grocery shopping, which I did yesterday, it was so fucking hard. Especially when I went to Costco and you smell the hot cheese pepperoni pizza. I'm like, oh my God, do I want to buy? I was sitting there. Oh, woo is me. I'm eating fucking smoked tri-tip that I made for my on my weekend. I had it all bagged up and it's sliced all nice and neat. That was my lunch with the hard-boiled eggs. I've been switching stuff up, by the way, too, but this kind of goes into minimalism, essentialism. I've been drinking my juices, way too much celery. I almost shit my pants climbing up the stairs the other day. But yeah, I think I'm going to lay low on the juice for a week and just kind of break stuff up. I haven't even been doing my smoothies, which I've talked to you guys about before, about minimalistic living and essentialism. Basically, plant-based protein, chocolate or vanilla with bananas and moringa powder and peanut powder, stuff like that. I had reishi mushrooms and flaxseed. So that's been my lunch for years. I save a shit ton of money. It reminds me of the Matrix where they had that gooish shit that they ate, and it was just like jelly rice, and they're like, but it was infused with all the vitamins and minerals you need for the human body to survive. I'm not quite that fucking essential, right? But I change it up from chocolate to vanilla to peanut butter, whatever, and I even change it up where I don't even have that. This week I've been eating hard-boiled eggs, and with just a little bit of some hot sauce on top. Some Hatch chili powder. What have I been doing? Just a stick of celery, just raw celery, like 3 sticks of celery on there, and also some high cultured bacterial loaded Blue Mountain yogurt, I think it was, and for good gut flora and all that kind of stuff, and also of course my kombucha I've been drinking a lot lately. But yeah, that's I just change stuff up, and that's what I look at for essentialism. Is you just buy what is essential. So going back to what I said in the store, it was really difficult. That hot instead of the cold meat sounded so good. But knowing that I'm saving up money, knowing that I'm living a simple life, I treat myself every once in a while. But to get back on point here as far as essentialism is before you just start going and buying shit, right? I mean, I bought stuff like a pair of sandals. I just want to throw in here, Croc sandals. My sandals are actually starting to wear out to where they're almost paper thin. They're getting like about a 1/4 inch thin, and I use them on the farm all the time. I hate wearing shoes. That's why I live in Sunnyside, California, and deal with all this bullshit here. But no, I love not wearing shoes, but I get thorns and stuff in my feet, so I wear these sandals and I use them every single day. Is it essential to me? Yes. To most people, they probably say, no, why don't you just walk barefoot? The typical minimalist. And I do walk barefoot, which there's some merit to that you're grounding your body and you have contact with the earth, and it's really good. But a lot of things that I look at, chips, fuses for your car, light bulbs, toilet paper, a lot of these things are essential. But then we start moving on when we start wanting to buy extra things like a lamp, right? Do you really fucking need a lamp? Is it that essential? Think of it in terms like this of anything that you're buying. How will this improve my life? And most of all, if we learn from the rich, how will this benefit? What's the ROI? How does this return on investment? Now, I think what I see a lot of people making the mistake on ROI is that it's all about money. How does this profit me? And that's what's causing big problems right now is people are buying up shit. They're all into profits, but not the health of the earth, I believe health of themselves and things like that. Because a lot of these people, they're wealthy, but they look like shit to me. They do not look like fucking happy people. But not to say that when you're poor, you're happy. But the ROI on things, like going back, say, to that lamp, maybe you have a bunch of books that you're educating yourself with, and at nighttime, that lamp, maybe it's one of those little clip-on cool lamps with the little swivel light you can move around, and every night you're reading for like half an hour until you pass out. That's an ROI to me. That's not money. That's an ROI of feeding yourself knowledge, of training yourself, going to school, instead of paying hundreds, thousands of dollars at a college when you could get all the information in book, or free on fucking online. And you're utilizing that lamp or your phone or your energy, whatever you got, to further your education, further your health, your happiness, and your money too. All of these things, hell yeah, this is essential. This is good. So when it comes to food, I think it's a very huge one. When I look at essentialism, practicing essentialism, for me, myself, the biggest cost for me used to be rent. Now my food is actually more than my rent, but it used to be rent, for instance, $2,000 a month, at least. Water, trash, utilities, and all that was even more. It was probably up to $2,500 a month. Now my water and my trash is all paid for me. All I have to do is pay electricity. So now, yeah, your food is a very large expense. For me, it has regularly been about $1,000 to anywhere from $600 to $1,000 a month. But that's been really dwindled by growing a lot of my own food. I do a lot of juices. I buy organic foods, almost all organic. So it does get kind of pricey eating meats and everything. And I know some of my friends out there in China were telling me something ridiculous. I think it was like $1,600 or $1,800. Dean out there in China, that they live off that for a year. I'm like, holy crap. I would really love to find out what the recipes are. I think 55-gallon drums of fucking ginger and soy sauce and rice and stuff like that. I mean, that sounds amazing. But yeah, so practice essentialism. Before you go and start buying stuff, to finish that up, ask yourself, do I really, really need this? And will this help my life out? A Snickers bar is not essential, right? I'm sorry. Snickers bar is not essential. I bought myself a pressure cooker air fryer. Is that essential? No and yes, because I'm out working so much, making really good fucking money. When I come home, instead of feeding my kids processed foods, I'd rather grab a whole chicken and put it in there with some water and a little bit of beer and some Worcestershire sauce, whatever, pressure cook it, and then air fry it and put some vegetables in there, so at least it's home cooked instead of processed food. So for me, yes, it's like I'm using automation to leverage my time. So let's move forward now into permaculture as a design for everything. Now, those of you who don't know about permaculture, is you should get into permaculture. There's Paul Wheaton. There's there's Zepp Halzer. There's a whole shit ton of people out there. I mean, Mark Shepard. There's a whole bunch. Willie Smits. Get in there and start looking at what's going on in the world. For one, it's just awesome to know that there's awesome practices happening. I wet my whistle there, getting too excited. When I get talking about permaculture, I always get excited. So yeah, permaculture is basically farming with nature, in harmony with nature, and actually utilizing nature, complementing nature and nature complements you. What a beautiful thing, right? But it's super fucking powerful, because you would do things such as keyline or swale, basically meaning that you would carve the land out on contour, and you would save the water from running off and eroding the soil to actually collecting in little pockets and soaking into the earth. And then you'd plant yourself some trees, and you'd plant yourself like a food forest. It's probably a really good thing to talk about here. You'd plant yourself a bunch of trees, and underneath those trees you would have some shrubs, and underneath those shrubs you'd have some, stick fruits like berries, like cane fruits and stuff like that, like raspberries. Underneath that you would have, say, like some herbs, and like underneath the herbs you'd have mushrooms. Underneath the mushrooms you have microgreen things growing, like mosses and things like that. So there's all these layers, like a huge jungle, basically. And what happens is that this thing starts to feed off of itself. Nobody needs to do anything. This is a very powerful observation, a very powerful philosophy. What happens too beyond this now? So it's all about people, right? No, it's fucking not. It's about the earth. Now that we're not touching and tilling the soil, and water is being kept on the soil, the microbiology, the soil itself by the worms pooping out castings and the trees and all the plants sending out their roots, their rhizomes. They're starting to create soil. They're starting to create fertility. Anything you throw in that ground now is going to grow like crazy. It's got water, it's got fertility. And the longer the years go by, the richer it becomes. And ROI, as we said, nothing to do with fucking money or fucking taxation. You can't tax microbiology. They just don't give a shit. I'll bet you they tried, they're like, hey, and microbiology just said, you know what? Fuck off. We don't care. We're too busy. Go sell crazy somewhere else. But all of a sudden, what's happening now is that you're getting fed and you're seeing beauty now, and the insects are starting to move in, the birds are starting to move in, the animals start to show up. And guess what? If you do this on a huge fucking scale, it'll actually help the area to start raining again. Because why? The trees actually emit a gas that goes up into the atmosphere, and when clouds start forming, they actually get stuck in this gas. They get accumulated around, not to make this too complicated, but it's like a wick. Once the gas that trees and plants breathe underneath their leaves goes up and touches the cloud, it makes the cloud release its moisture and rain, right? And now there's all this nitrogen and this food and all this wonderful beauty happening. Now it starts turning into where you don't even have to do anything. This thing just manages itself. In fact, the frogs will show up and start eating the aphids and everything will balance itself out. But it takes time. It takes years for this to develop. This is the beauty about permaculture and the philosophy that I want to share with you guys here, that I'm sharing with you. The more, and as we start and have patience, everything starts to age and everything starts to acclimate. Everybody starts to figure out who's who, right? Even the birds. You're going to have some fucking woodpeckers move in, and then a finch is going to come in. They're both probably going to fight a little bit over that one tree until one decides to move a little further, right? So everything kind of gets its pecking order, and a lot of things will maybe die off because they're just not, the genetics are not there, or maybe it just doesn't like it there. Maybe something else choked it in, is dominating it. After time goes by, the whole thing turns into this machine, sort of, this whole interactive where everything's reacting with each other. Now, the beauty just goes even further to where the fungi, the mushrooms under the ground, the fungi is just the fruit. For those of you who don't understand that, it lives there's a web underneath the hole where they talk. They send electrical charges. Everything talks underground. Watch, there's a show called What Plants Talk About. It's scientifically proven. What will happen is that mushroom will actually go way down, like sometimes 20, 30 feet down below, to fetch water and give it to the trees. Now, fungi like sugar. They can't really produce much of their own sugar. So what they'll do is form a relationship with the tree, and that the tree, through photosynthesis, will trade sugar for water. And it's a symbiotic relationship, and it just keeps getting richer and richer and richer to where it's unstoppable. Unless a fire came or the earth turned. And these are things that I look at in our lives. If we can take this philosophy, sorry, I think it's like I have a frog in my throat. If we can learn from this philosophy and start incorporating these things into our lives now, the problem is that we've been steered away from doing things like this. A lot of people have been fooled to think that go to school, get married, go to college, get married, have babies, buy a house, get into debt. And you have rich people, very wealthy people saying that's the stupidest shit you could ever fucking do. There are people shitting on the public education system, shitting on college. I know, not for everybody. Some people should go to college, but it's not me. It's these people saying buy a house is the fucking dumbest shit you could ever fucking do, right? I know it sounds weird because it goes against everything we've been told. And I don't want to make the show about them, but go look at them. Listen to these people. There's a lot of them. There's top scientists shitting on public education and things like that. I always beat it up. But yeah, going back to positive, learning about permaculture, if we start today, it's never too late. And especially, I would say, if you're really late in life, the seed that you planted, say a tree, and I think this goes into helping people, right? Helping people live a better life, like putting out a good message, like I believe, like I feel doing the show. That's why that's what I love about doing the show, is I hope that I help people. And it's like planting a seed, like a tree, that you'll never see the fruits. You'll be dead one day. But because you did what you did, it's actually helping the future generations. And what is that? What's the ROI on that? For most people, they say fucking nothing. Fuck them. But you and your heart, you and your mind, the day that you die, and we're all going to fucking die one day, you can reflect on things like that. And I think a lot of people worry about what people think of them. If you're preoccupied with that, imagine when you do die at your eulogy or whatever the fuck they call it, they would look and say, this woman or this man planted hundreds of trees, dude, and they'll never see the fruits of it. But because they did that, birds and animals and they'll help it rain, and that human beings could actually eat, get sustenance off. Children may build playhouses in it, in these trees, right? They produce shade, a nice place to relax in the summertime. It was a very awesome of that person to selfishly just go and do these things, selflessly, right? So, yeah. I think we're moving into an area too where they're saying that a lot of people aren't going to own anything, as we said, and it's going to become a renter's nation. So I'm always an asshole, always looking for ways. I don't own land, as I said, but my next note here is my personal spin farm philosophy. And if we are moving to a renter's nation, I've been living this way anyways. I really don't own anything. I just own my 29-foot trailer that I live in, but I utilize other people's properties. And I don't necessarily pay rent in the form of money. I don't give them a single dollar to rent. Now, this is what's happening is large corporations, rich individuals are buying up properties so that they can make really good investments so that everybody has to pay rent. Right, you're gonna have to pay them, and they come out ahead. They don't pay taxes on the gains and stuff like that, and which is a whole thing in and of itself of how the rich don't pay taxes. Very interesting. But my end, for those of us who don't want to get all involved with things like that, is the spin farm philosophy. So, for those of you who've been following me, those of you who haven't, I've got probably about an acre of land right now where I'm able to grow a lot of my own food. I'm doing all kinds of experimentations. This is I'm hoping to build my business so that I can take care of my special needs kid, right? I got to do something so that I'm going to have her for the rest of my life. And gardening I can do with her. So we're going to teach people how to garden. I'm stacking functions. I'm repairing the earth. I'm teaching people how to repair the earth. I'm teaching people how to feed themselves. I'm producing food for myself and for the people who own the land. They're captivated by the food. They're like, oh my God, there's no comparison to the strawberries and the tomatoes from store-bought. Like, this is night and day. Your shit is bomb. We don't want you to go anywhere. What can we do to help you, right? So they want me there. And all I do is I pay the water bill, because that's fair. I maintain a piece of the land, by raking up leaves, pulling weeds and stuff, keeping an area nice and clean, and I give them food. And I can turn this into a spin farm, into a full-blown business in multiple ways, where I teach people how to grow, where I sell at farmers markets, where I sell to restaurants, where I sell to the public direct, all kinds of different things. So I look at the fear of this is a renter's nation, there's nowhere to go, everybody owns everything. Well, if that's the case, and you're not willing to educate yourself and work as hard as a lot of these investors and rich people are doing, or maybe not as hard, but as smart and vindictive as they are, which I don't really care to do, then we need to utilize this system. And that's how I say, go ahead and own everything then. But I'm going to give you the best fucking food that you can eat on the fucking planet. You can't even go to what's the name of those places? Sprouts Farmers Market, and these grocery stores, Whole Foods, right? You can't go there and even get the flavor that I've got. And you know it. And you don't want me to go anywhere. You want to keep these tomatoes and these strawberries and these pineapple ground cherries and things like that flowing. So we created necessity. We dazzled them, their taste buds, with food. And what I'm trying to say here is that there's many things that we can do if in these coming hard times to utilize the spin farm philosophy, just like I have been doing way before all this shit happened. And I want you to just sit and think about that model. And if there's something that you want to do, like I think producing your own food is probably a fucking huge one, because if it's going up 40% and you're able to grow stuff from seed that keeps producing its perpetual motion, you grow one tomato, and now if you save one of those tomatoes and you get like 30-40 pounds of tomatoes to eat, you save one and you have 500 seeds, probably not that many depending on which tomato you're doing, but you probably have somewhere like 200 seeds. You have 200 plants next year from that one tomato. That's an ROI if you ask me. And you're going to save a shit ton of fucking money by growing your own food. And I think that's one of the ways that we're going to have to. I didn't put that on my notes here. Probably should have, but I guess I feel like I talk about it too much, about producing your own food. Maybe not enough. I don't know. Comment below the show notes down there. There's a way to get a hold of me. So yeah, next is the significance of developing useful relationships, and I capitalize useful. My God, have I had a lot of dysfunctional, useless fucking relationships. God, I am glad I am fucking done with them. Life is so much fucking better. But it's boring and it's hard to do everything ourselves, even though the majority in my book has to be done ourselves. So one of the things I've always done is, just because I never really realized it because it's just my nature. I talk to people like they're fucking human beings, right? What the fuck ever happened to that shit? You know, you go to the grocery store and you're like, hey, how's it going? They're like, good. You know, I understand they see people day in, day out, but majority of people, even phone calls and stuff, it's like, we're not even human anymore. You're just saying shit to be polite. How was your day? Great. How was yours? Fine. You know? But to make actually conversations and laugh and stuff. So what happened with me was that there's a forklift driver at one of the supply places that I go to. And I always bullshit with them. Talk to him, make him laugh, talk shit to him, you know. I always gate it up. I know that that's probably horrible to do now at this day and age, but me and him loved it. You know, he'd always say, toodaloos, you know, and I'd be waving my ticket, my invoice like a hanky, and I'd blow a kiss at him like, Monsieur, you know, in the gayest voice I could do, and he'd come over and grab it with his pinky, and like we'd laugh and just make fun of stuff. And he became like friends. We love, every time I'd come, it was like, what are we going to say next? You know, he ended up progressing from forklift driver to actually working the front desk. And because I developed this relationship, now this dude, like when I call, he's on the fucking bomb. He'll drop shit. He'll call me after work. Hey man, I know it's late, but I couldn't get that part for you. You know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know so it doesn't hold you up. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's going above and beyond, right? And these are the development, these relationships that I look at, whether it's in business. If you look at a lot of wealthy people, that's what they do. A real estate investor will develop a relationship with a tax advisor, you know. And what they'll do is CPA and things like that. They'll also with other real estate agents and stuff like that, and loan agencies. They become friends, like they develop a relationship. And next thing you know, when a couple of really hot ticket items like properties come up for sale, because that relationship was evolved, these people are in cahoots with each other and they'll let them know before anybody else knows. Now, I don't really care about all that. I like to just, as I said, human up, as I say in the show. But the more and more you human up, the more and more people at hard times are helping each other. And you kind of get to know each other, where you can do a lot of good stuff to combat the hard times. And you kind of know who's the who, right? People are coming into shit late, you know, if they're for survival fucking tactics, you know. A lot of these people are full of shit, but those people were genuine before anything ever started, or before you even asked anything of them, or they asked of you. You become friends. And I think it just makes the world a better place. But it's definitely going to help you out, you know, regardless of what you're doing. I forget what this is called, but like you ask one person for a door, right? And that person knows 5 other people. They ask those 5 people, hey, my friend Adrian needs a door. They ask 5 people, and the ricochet effect just goes insane. Next thing you know, you got like, this has happened to me, that's why I'm using this example. Next thing you know, you got like 100 fucking doors to choose from. The word gets spread out, right? And people, when you human up, they genuinely want to help you. So making and developing useful relationships is one of the most powerful things that you can do in these hard times. And holy fuck me in my face, we're almost 45 minutes. Damn, I want to do these shows a lot longer. I wish we can take a lot more time off and do it, but we're going to have to move forward. So let's end this show here. I have my last words on how all this starts with you yourself. And I don't know if a lot of people are flustered about me always talking about philosophies, and you know, I give a lot of good examples and things of how we can change things around and how we can, you know, how things can happen, but it all starts with you, you know. And once you start getting the idea, as I explained about this, the permaculture, all of this stuff, that once you start getting the gist, you're unstoppable. So it all starts with you guys. I know a lot of people just want to sit by and watch the show go on, or they feel like they can't do anything. There's a shit ton you can fucking do about it. The time is now, and you got to start doing something. Your lives are being designed for you, and without you even realizing it, you're being affected. And I think if you don't see that, then you're pretty much like an ostrich with your head in the ground. There's a lot of things coming down the wire. I know a lot of people are too busy. That's why I try to give these messages out here. This is what a lot of investors and wealthy people and these top-notch tycoons are saying. They're out there saying that a lot of the word on the streets that things are going to get really hard. I don't want them to be, and I don't want to play that whole fucking drama thing with it. But as I said, a lot of the things that I've shared with you today, in my opinion, and for my personal experience in my life, has made my life a hell of a lot better, has gained me freedom, has given me ROI on many, many levels, things that I can't even explain, right? Just the joy in my heart of the wonderful stuff I've done, saving a frog and a lizard, or planting a tree in some place, and cleaning up the beach, the trash at the beach, and releasing pregnant fish because I know my fish identification instead of just, capturing them. And there could have been thousands of babies that were born. There's some trout in a lake, a Big Bear Lake, that are born because I released that female fish instead of taking her home and eating her. Many, many things that I look at, ROI. But guys, it starts with you, and we better start doing something now. And trust me, it is a lot of work to get off the wheel, as I say. I always forget to mention that, but the amount of freedom, and it's a change up, right? We all get Amazon delivering to your door, you get the newspaper delivered to your door, it's thrown over there. There's a lot of extra work that you have to start doing initially, and then you have to change your mindset so you don't have the luxury of a lot of the conveniences of things that are happening. But once you get into a rhythm, you sacrifice the luxury over here, right? The convenience. Mostly, I'd say not the luxury, I'd say the convenience, because the convenience is not very luxurious one bit. You're being sold shitty food, you're getting taxed, you're spending money on products that don't really taste that great, right? But the freedom that you will gain on your life by doing these extra things, and as they become routine and you get used to them and you start living essential and minimalistic, you just kind of start creating a flow in your life. So now you don't have these conveniences, but you got the fucking luxury of going and fishing this morning if you fucking so choose to, because you want to, because you can. You could do fucking the world is fucking wide open for you. So god damn, am I fucking excited to. That's what this show's all about, guys. Everything that I say, the energy, the intentions of this show is to try to get that word out there that there's a whole nother way to live. We do not have to. What I see is that we've chosen that maybe we haven't even chosen, we just didn't know. They captured us in captivity in our minds and at an early age, and they got us thinking, give us your money, give us your children, give us your brain, you're going to go to college, you're going to do all these things. And how's that working out for the majority of people? Suicide rates are up, and I mean, in children, just the happiness. Just look around at how many people are happy. Look how many people are successful on the monetary system. Right? How many people are stuck in fucking debt? How many people lose their shit? Relationships being broken up. Here in California, I think it's over 50%, right? Because like me, my separation with my ex, we never got married. We lived like Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon. We never really formally got married. We lived together, had children, and declared, hey, you want to be with me? I'll be with you. How many of those relationships that aren't recorded, right? Us fucking hill people. Us fucking rebels, resilient rebels that live off where we're not in the system. You don't know what we're doing, not doing, right? So who knows of what the numbers really are, and none of that really matters other than if you see somebody truly happy and you look and you say, I want that in my life too. One of my guys I like listening to is Danny Pena. He's harsh, man, but he points out to a lot of his crowd, all these people, he's like, you want your kids to be you? Is that what the fuck is going on while you're trying to control their lives? Raise your hand if you want your kid to be exactly like you. He goes, that's what I fucking thought. Not one of you, right? No, but you do not want your kids to be you, to be modeled, to live the life that you live, right? You want them to do better. But the point is that I think a lot of these people are ashamed of themselves. I think a lot of people don't have balls. I think a lot of people, when I say balls too, is to look out of all of this shit and know that there's things that you should be doing because it's good for the earth, good for yourself, good for future generations. And actually, if we turn this around, like these lovely people, if you go and study permaculture, there's actually money involved in it. There's actually a good living, maybe not millions and billions of dollars, but a very comfortable life, a very happy life, a very natural and pleasant, peaceful fucking life. So I'll end with that. I've been blabbering my mouth. We're almost on an hour here. Guys, you know what to do. Everything's on the show notes below. Go out there and have yourself a near life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it. Bone it, my friends.